A few weeks ago, you'd mentioned that Isaac Asiata was playing well for you. Is there a chance that you open up the battle there?
There's
on
a
the
chance that
offensive
he'll
line?
play more, and he did play in this game. He took about 8 to 10 reps in this game on Saturday, and he will play more. We're going to get him more involved because he graded out 100% in his minimal reps. And so I've been an Asiata fan for a long time. He's just a redshirt freshman. But to answer your question, absolutely, Isaac will get more playing time.
Coach, as frustrating as last season was, how much of a shell shock is it to find yourselves basically in the same situation this season?
Yeah, it is. And I can tell you, and I've said it, I think, 1 or 2 other times this season, we were a better football team this year than we were last year. The record does not reflect that. You know, this team, Arizona State, we went down there last year and just got shellacked. I think it was 40-6 or whatever the case may be. And so we're standing toe-to-toe with the best the conference has to offer. I said that at the press conference on Saturday night. But we got to find a way to get more wins. I mean, we're more competitive, but it's not about being competitive. It's about getting W's. And so that's the next hurdle we got to get over, is finding a way to win these games. But like I said, last year, a lot of the games we weren't even in. And so we made progress, but nobody cares unless you get the W. Nobody cares what else is going on.
I know you mentioned the protection on Travis wasn't good enough for him to hit, but are your receivers doing enough to get themselves open?
Nope,
Is there enough separation?
absolutely not. Gloved up at receiver, and I mentioned that. They just, not in one position group on offense, played well. And even had the protection been better, many times there was nowhere to go with the ball. And so it's a concerted effort across the board on offense to get better this week. We've got to get better at every single position group.
Coach, on offense, when you say getting better, is it a manner of maybe trying to find some new players who can step up? Are those players there and waiting in the wings for chances? What exactly?
Well, it starts with we got to coach better, and I always bring it back to coaching because that's we're not going to point fingers at players and blame them. I mean, if your guys aren't performing, then you got to coach them better, and if they can't perform better, you've recruited the wrong guys. So no matter how you spin it, it comes back to coaching, and so we've got to do a better job there. And maximize the guys that we have. We've moved the football this year. Stanford game was an example of that. We moved it well, and so we just got to do a better job across the board.
Is there anything different that you guys can do offensively at the start of games? Seems like there's been some struggles.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive after a 2-week break to have those first 3 plays: sack, and tackle for loss. Not in that order, but there was a stretch there where we were starting fast on offense, but last week was certainly not one of those, or Saturday, and so that's something. Defensively as well, we didn't start particularly well on defense. I mean, we gave up a score again, which has happened quite often this season on the first drive, and so I think starting fast has been something that has not been a strength of ours most weeks. But to the defense's credit, they rallied up and then didn't give anything up until midway through the fourth quarter, unfortunately. And the defense, had they been able to hold that lead, it would have been a masterpiece on defense. As it was just a very good effort. So,
Coach, and the defense is what I was thinking about on this. At the opening there, giving up that opening drive touchdown again and then locking down so much, are there adjustments that are being made, or is it just still a way to get them out, starting right from the beginning, playing the way they should and executing the way
some
they should?
adjustments, but more than anything, a couple missed tackles on the first drive, a couple missed assignments, I should say, on gaps. And so there was no major adjustments that took place, nothing that was that Arizona State ran took us by surprise. I mean, when you're as successful as they have, they've scored 50 points or more in 5 of their 8 games. They're not going to change much, and 50 points or more in the last 3 in succession. And so we didn't expect a bunch of change, didn't get a bunch of change, but they executed very well on the first drive. We didn't execute very well on defense and missed some tackles, and they got in the end zone.
Kyle, X's and O's aside from the defense, what does it say about their character that with all the struggles the offense has had, after that game they said, hey, it's our fault, it's on us?
That's how it should be, and we're a team. We win as a team, we lose as a team, and the defense has been playing well lately. That's no secret, but there's been games this year where the offense has played exceptionally well. We haven't played so well on defense, and so we have arrived in no area of our team. We're a work in progress across the board, and that's the mentality you expect your players to have. And if the roles were reversed and we've been playing well on offense the last few weeks and not so well on defense, you'd expect the offensive guys to step up and have that same mentality. So, yeah.
Coach, did you think that here we are in the 10th week, and you'd still be a work in progress. Was that something that obviously it's probably a shock when you
Well,
said that at the
we're a work
beginning.
in progress from start to finish. We were the same way in 08, 09, 04. Every football team's a work in progress, and that's something that, my point is, you've never arrived. I'm not trying to say that, hey, give us more time, we got things to work. We always have things to work on, as does everyone in the country. If you go talk to Nick Saban, I'm guaranteeing you, he'd say they got a bunch of stuff to work on. So that's more a coaching mentality, more so than trying to grasp at straws. If that's, I don't mean to give that impression.
And then the goal of making it to a bowl game obviously is still there. Is that the main
Absolutely,
motivation
that's our
factor?
number one goal. Number one goal, and the math gets easier and easier as the season goes on. Now we got to win 2 out of 3. I mean, that's the long and short of it, and so we got to work it out for us.
Defensively, personnel-wise, I noticed a lot of Justin Thomas out there on the field for you. In fact, I think he may have even started.
He did.
Was
Yep.
there a change in the 2 deep there?
Yeah, Justin had an excellent week in practice, and Justin's been playing a bunch for us the last 3 or 4 weeks and has continued to get better and better. And so what we did is, and he's been playing 2 roles for us, outside corner and nickel. And so we felt he had, and we've had 4 guys really that play those 3 spots. We got Davion Orfeh and Keith McGill outside exclusively. Mike Honeycutt, who plays inside exclusively, and then Justin, who's the swing guy. And Justin had a good enough week of practice. We felt he deserved to get the start, so he started opposite of Keith in place of Orfeh. But then we brought Orfeh in, 3 or 4 series later, and moved Justin inside. So he played 2 positions and got a lot of reps and did a good job. He did get beat on the touchdown late in the game, but for the secondary as a whole, I'm very proud of how they played, but. We're still got to get better.
Has Keith become the next University of Utah shutdown corner?
He might. I mean, he might be that. He had a great game Saturday, although I know he feels he should have came away with an interception or 2. He was right there and just misplayed the ball a little bit and couldn't come down with it. But they were going at him and with their best receiver, and Keith was lights out. And so he's got that great length, and that's why we moved him initially, because of his, he's got the 6'3" height, and he's got the biggest wingspan on the team, and so much athleticism. A lot like Sean Smith. I keep comparing him to Sean throughout his time here, but yeah, to answer your question, he's had a great progress. He's progressed from game 1 all the way through, and if he keeps it up, then he's going to play football for a long time.
Coach, can you just talk a little bit about Oregon's offense, the weapons they have there?
Yeah, great weapons. I mean, the quarterback, and I guess he got dinged up a little bit in the game. We expect him to play. I haven't heard any word one way or the other. You guys probably know more about that at this point in time than I do. But it starts with the quarterback, one of the best, if not the best, in the country. And in the Pac-12, we just see one great quarterback after another, week after week after week. But he may be the best of them all. DeAnthony Thomas, the running back, tremendous. I mean, the receivers, the Huff kid is a great player. The offensive line has been good for a lot of years. So they got a lot of weapons. Their tempo is another thing that's a weapon for them. They're as fast as anybody in the country as far as getting plays off. And so they have not missed a beat with Chip going to Philadelphia. They've just picked up where they left off.
Coach, how encouraging was it to see Oregon get beat by Stanford?
Well, they're not invincible. I guess that's what that told us. And for a while there, they looked invincible, and Stanford proved that not to be the case. But they're still a heck of a football team and one of the best teams in the country, and so they've got all our respect. But it provided a little bit of a blueprint, even though you can't all of a sudden transform who you are and try to become Stanford. I mean, you can't do that, but it gave us some good ideas.
Playing Arizona State last week, similar tempo, similar type personnel, helped the preparation for Oregon and their tempo and their speed this week.
It does, and that's really the exception now is when you play a non-tempo team. I mean, that's the exception to the rule. Almost every week seems to be a tempo spread attack, and so that's kind of how football is evolving, and we're getting semi-used to that, I guess you could say.
Just Can you talk a bit about Nate Orchard and the way that his play has improved for the last couple games?
Yeah, very proud of Nate. In fact, the whole defensive line, we're among the nation's leaders in sacks, right up there, 1, 2, 3, somewhere in the top of the country. And Nate and Trevor on the edges have done a great job. Tenney inside, I think Tenney's fantastic, and Tenney plays great football for us week after week after week, so consistent. And in reference to Nate, he's become a complete player. He's been waiting for this for a couple of years. Last year, he did a lot of good things, but some weeks wasn't as consistent as others. He's been very consistent for us this year. A hard worker, great attitude, and it's a real weapon having him and Trevor on those edges. Two athletic guys like that can put pressure on the passer, along with Tenney inside that's pushing the pocket, as well as the other guys inside, LT, Tuipulotu, and we got Senny back this last week, which really gave us a boost on defense. And so proud of the defensive line, how they've played this year. Credit to them, credit to their coach, Elisa Ituiaki.
Coach, I ask you to be a psychologist a little bit.
Well, I've got a little background in that.
I know you do. So yeah. Where's your team's mindset after another frustrating week? I know that you said they've had a good attitude throughout all this, but each week, I imagine with frustrating losses, it gets a little harder, doesn't
With
it?
the frustrating week we've had, we're very frustrated, and so it's been a very frustrating season overall. As I mentioned, we've closed the gap so significantly. But again, the record, you are what and who your record says you are, and our record is same as last year. So in that respect, the bottom line hasn't changed, but it's been frustrating in the fact that we know we're close. We know we're close, and we're competing and we're slugging it out with the guys toe to toe that we're playing. But you got to pick yourself back up. It was a tough defeat, but life's all about picking yourself up and moving forward and taking on the next challenge. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a great week of practice, and my guess is the leaders will do just what they've been doing all year long and make sure that happens.
All right. Part B, as you prepare for Oregon, do you feel like you're going to face a downtrodden Ducks team or an angry Ducks team?
Angry. I'm sure that they're a prideful team, and they've got high aspirations and goals, I'm sure, and they're going to be upset and ready to get back on the winning track. So yeah, we expect to get their best shot without a doubt. Thanks, guys.